into the show
that informs, improves, and inspires racers everywhere.
The Northwest Race Report. The Northwest Race Report is brought to you by O'Hagan's Kart Supply, Lebanon, Oregon. You want to win? O'Hagan's wants to help. And by True Tech Automotive, Hazeldale, Washington. Get your car, truck, or tow rig repaired the right way, the True Tech way. And by Scott Seal Coat and Striping, Federal Way. For over 25 years, whether you're sealing or striping, you can count on Scott. And by Southern Oregon's karting headquarters, Speed City LLC, keeping racers on track with quality support and friendship. You're tuned in to the Northwest Race Report exclusively at terrybridges.com. And now back to your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges and Glenn Lippy Tower. Oh, what is going on, racers? And welcome to another edition of the Northwest Race Report. I'm your horsepower and performance host, Terry Bridges. And with me are the rest of the clan. Mr. Glenn Lippy Tower. What's going on, Lip?
It's all good in the hood tonight.
And he made it. He's probably tired.
Probably.
But it's the loader, Mr. Jeffrey Eden. What's going on, Jeffrey?
Oh, trying to stay dry.
And awake, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not too bad right now.
How's your week? How's your weeks been? Or your weeks?
Busy.
Really?
I had 66 hours last week.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't work that hard, but I was busy as equally.
Well, you work that hard. You're just not that many hours, right?
Well, yeah, there you go. That's it. But yeah, I'm to be honest, I'm struggling with Ma a little bit. You know, you know some of the story. I'm trying to find her a place to live. She's got dementia, so it's tough to find those kind of places. But I think I'm making a little headway this week, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Well, that's good. What about Dad? Is he doing okay?
Yeah, he's not too happy with any of it, so we'll just hope that he adjusts accordingly. He definitely doesn't have the problems Mom does, though.
Yeah, that's a huge. As we, we're not far from being there either.
Yeah, I know it.
But that's a tough deal for anybody, I think. But
yep, it is. It's consuming, so
it is.
I'm grateful for the show. It's a great outlet for me. It lets me get back to reality, and something else to think about.
Well, I don't know about reality, but I mean, but still, yeah, that's cool. Tonight on our show, we got our last segment with the man Robby Yao. So, it's your last chance to ask those questions. By the way, who is on the chat line? P1. Let's see.
Brent Meyer pulls it down.
What?
With P1.
Where has he been?
Mr. Swires is coming in at number 2, and our own BLG.
Yeah, baby.
Coming in number 3.
Blue Line Graphics. Well, we got a great show for you tonight. I just, there's a couple things I want to comment on through the Facebook deal that I saw, but we've got some results for you tonight. But mainly, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Sorry. Squirrel. Robby Yao, last segment. So if you've got questions, man, this guy has given up everything. I mean, he's given away some good information, and he's not afraid to answer the questions. He's one of those guys, he wants to beat you on the racetrack. There really aren't any. Now, he's not telling you everything. You know that. But
it's giving you a pretty good look into his book.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a fool if you don't take advantage of that.
Sure.
Just, the little questions, those little, those prodding ones that you always go, God, I wish I knew that, or, man, I wish, you know what I mean?
Well, that's like last week there after I'd left, I was listening on the way home.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, I never even give it any thought about not tightening all the bolts up, like on the bumpers and the seat. And I'd never give that any thought.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess I've never raced go-karts either.
Well, but when you start because let's face it, some of the body works and stuff, the karts weren't really designed for that. So, anything you go adding on, just ask Milton, he'll tell you, right? You go welding on conglomerations on there and whatever, it makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, it was just something that, like on the way home, I'm thinking, wow, I hadn't.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about something like that.
Exactly. See, and those, racers, it's never the big things. That's easy. A half a second or whatever. Sometimes that's hard to find, but for the most part, there's usually something major there. But when you're starting to get, when we're at the Nationals, right, when it's, a tenth or less that the quality, now all that stuff makes a difference. People don't think about that, You can whip up around here locally and stuff, but you start getting out there with the big boys, and, man, I'm telling you, all your weaknesses and areas of lack show up like a sore thumb. It's like you just hit it with a hammer. It's like, So, that's why when you look at Ryan Diotti's stuff, Ronnie Cox's stuff, Renee's stuff, all those guys, it's immaculate.
It's attention to detail.
It is. It truly is.
And speaking of Renee, she's on the line.
Hey. And I want to give a big shout-out to Shane Biles, who's on the mend, by the way. He had he had a little hernia issue there that he had to deal with right after we got back from Arizona, so I'm so glad it happened here. But he said, I don't have any insurance. He says, I'm not, it's too rich for my blood, the $700 a month. Well, I think he's finding out now. He wish he would have paid. That $700 is pretty cheap. But anyway, Shane, if you're listening in, man, we love you and glad you're on the mend. And then quickly, I don't know how many people saw it. It was kind of like Passanante's thing. Jeremy Means Flags got on Facebook and he made a post about Salem Speedway or about Albany being done, basically. Well, I thought that was old news. I mean, really, but maybe he didn't know. I don't know, or maybe there was some talk that it might come back, but. And he was saying, oh, yeah, it was really, to sum it up, he says, I don't have any regrets. And, boy, we got to start, taking care of, make sure we don't losing any more tracks and all this stuff. Hey, I'm here to tell you. My response to that was, we pleaded here on the show for the numbers. And granted, it isn't all the race. You close down or people don't go because there's little issues that they don't like or, whatever. I think, Lip, you had a few that, and all that really doesn't matter, but yet it does. Because even though the place might not be your favorite and it might not be exactly what you really like, man, I think we all have to start looking at, are we thinking about ourselves, or are we thinking about the sport? And I think I was talking to Jeff a little bit about this the other day. Is we know there's issues, right? We know there's some issues. Whether it's money, whether it's people found something else to do, whatever. There's issues there. But to sweep it under the rug, I don't think that's a good idea. But it's just like the news, right? All they ever report's the negative stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's like I told Jeff, I said, we know what the issue, we don't know what the issue is, but we know there's a problem there. But so what? There's still a lot of good going on that we could be talking about instead of always saying, geez Louise, but it's nobody's fault. It's all our faults. It's nobody in particular. We're all at fault. Myself included. But I think this is a good reminder again. Remember when we almost lost Salem, they had like 2,000 and some odd letters come through. They got flooded. And we had 35 guys at the next thing, right? It was like, it's kind of like when you pray, and you pray, and then as soon as your thing's answered, you just kind of forget about it, right? Same deal goes here. And I just don't know that that's the right way to go. So I'm just putting it out there. I know for me, I am going to try to look at what's good because there is a lot of good. You go to the Nationals, all the great people we met that we had heard about and seen but never met. You talk about Facebook being negative, man, some of the greatest relationships and friendships and cool stuff have happened on Facebook.
That's true.
There's another good to Facebook. It isn't always the bad thing. The guy says, "Hey, I shot my dog today," or whatever, it is. But, where I'm getting at, Lip? I mean, the point I'm trying to make? And, man, I would love to see record numbers at the indoor this year. I mean, I get it. Money's tight. It's there and everything. But, I mean, what did you see that post?
I didn't see that post. No, I didn't.
But, we got 5 tracks left. We got, Willamette still. I think they're going to run in the summer, but not the indoor. But, we've got Salem. We got Monroe. I don't know. Hopefully you get my gist here. I'm not preaching. I'm just saying that I think we all need to take a look, especially like this winter. This is going to be awesome. And I'm just ready to, go. Go ahead, man. Yeah.
The Clark family racing put it exactly. The glass is always half full.
Fact.
And that's,
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard. I mean, and I don't know if anybody's got an answer.
Well, there isn't. But here's what I do know that I don't see. That there is an issue. We don't know what it is. Everybody's got their own little reason why they whatever. Why don't we get together? Why, that's what I said. We should meet once in the fall before the indoor season and once in the spring before summer hits. Everybody gets together. Everybody kind of says, here's what we're planning. Here's what we're doing. Gosh, there might be some good ideas. That WARPA thing that they have, that promoters meeting. They always do that because, you get to talk about what works and what doesn't work, or what worked for you over here in Florida and what, didn't work here. I mean, there's so many good ideas, so many networking things that you could do through that, but it's just a local one. You've kind of got a smirk, so I don't know if you're going, that's BS or what.
No, I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, our numbers this summer were dismal. They were, quite frankly, not worth even putting the show on for 20 to 30 carts, and it's disheartening and sad. But, I'm with you. I don't have the answers. I don't know what's going to bring them. I don't know why it's doing it, but it's definitely doing it. And there's probably more than just Albany that's on the verge of going away.
On the block, yeah. I mean, I would venture to say you probably can't guarantee anything anymore. I mean, Every racetrack's, got one on a banana peel and the other one right over the cliff, but more than that, I mean, think about it. You might decide, okay, it's really not my favorite place, or I don't like so-and-so, gosh. That's everywhere. I don't care what you're doing. There's guys at work I can't stand. But you got to go and you got to do it and you got to support it. So, you try to weed that out, because you watch the uproar if Salem were to go bye-bye. Do you know what a absolutely devastating blow that would be around here?
Well, it is our only winter form of racing, other than Monroe, and you can go support that if you want to, and I encourage it. But other than that's our venues, from Oregon to Washington.
And that's what I say. I say, what would be wrong with if we're off, which they have cut the schedule down a little bit this year. It looks like they trimmed it, but what would be wrong with getting a group of guys and going up and running Monroe? And then hopefully with that, like when you hit your Twitter, if you follow somebody, they follow you, then maybe they'll follow suit and come down there and get a taste and try that. But I mean, more than anything is it would be you don't have to know the direction. You just got to take a step, And so that's what I'm saying is might not be the answer, but maybe we could all get together as adults and say, yes, there's an issue, but we don't know what it is, but here's some of the problems that I don't like, and I don't, and then you find a solution through that.
Mr. Diotti, how are you tonight?
Is that Troy or the Hitman?
The Hitman.
Oh, baby, the Hitman. Oh, yeah. Oh, what does it say? Michael, with Skype and FaceTime and all the technology we have, I've been saying this for a while now, for all the regional administrators within the UAS brainstorming sessions to discuss what works, what doesn't, what we can do to improve. Michael Lane, you're right on. I mean, there's not going to be any dead set answer, but hopefully we can find some solutions. And then this gives the racer, instead of, you know how it works, right? The racers go and they don't like something, so we all kind of complain among ourselves, but we never go to anybody that really matters, that can really do anything to fix it. And so, hence, everybody's all bummed out and negative and this and that for the whole season. You know, we're all complaining, did you see that? Oh, yeah, geez, oh, wow. That's when you got to finally just take a stand and say, okay, let's go talk to some and get everybody together, right? I mean, it takes the masses. You can't have, two guys that say, oh, yeah, I'll do it if, you go up. Okay, and then the guy says, okay, I'm going to go up. Okay, great. He goes up, and they say, well, now who said that? Wasn't me. I didn't, and then you back out. But it takes everybody to go do that. And I think Bob is a good guy. I mean, and not that Salem's in danger. I want to make that clear. At least that I don't know of, right?
Yeah, it's
I mean, like I said before, this Albany thing was a long time coming. And I think when I was down there before, God, were you with me when we talked to him in the office? Maybe that was Roger. But, he said it's not going to go on forever. I can't keep hoofing the bill. This is my livelihood. And I don't blame him for that. Crap, he's not there to, I mean, I wish I had the money to where it didn't matter, but he's trying to make a little something and give some, he's providing a service, so to speak.
And at that point, you still pay taxes on the property. And
yeah.
You still got to make
employees
something. You have to make something to keep going.
Right.
I don't care what it is.
Amen. And we can all do that. I mean, it's there. But I think by getting all the local people together, we could say, hey, look, we're doing this, we're doing that. We're going to try not to schedule. Obviously in the winter, you can't not overschedule on something, but you can sure try.
Yeah. Well, no, and really don't. Yeah, you got Roseburg running, so
yeah,
and that's. I mean, it would seem to behoove everybody to get together to get the maximum racer.
Well, why wouldn't you want to do that? Then you get your voice heard, right? I mean, you get a chance to speak your piece. You've already told every racer in the pits. Now you get to tell somebody where it matters. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's just a thought. Chime in if you got anything on it. Let's see. Dave Chisholm. Yeah. It comes down to finances as well, says Daryl Kelso. Of course it does. It does. I mean, I totally get that. And there's a ton of things to do now that weren't there a few years or years back.
But it's just like when we talked with the guy at Evergreen. I mean, they're doing drift cars. They're doing this. They're doing that. He was doing everything possible
to keep the doors open.
To keep the doors open and keep the interest in the place. So, Pat Sakers running drift cars.
Yep.
I mean,
and you know what he said? I mean, he says, karting could go bye-bye. I make more money on my rental carts. But he says the drift car, there was times where I've shown up there. It was, if you've ever been to Pat Sakers, you know what I'm talking about. But where you come in, you turn, you go down the hill. It was backed out up on it. They had to call the police. There was so much traffic there. They were wondering what was going on. And then you get to go there and you pay $10 and you can go get a head sock for $3 and you can ride with those guys in the car all you want. I mean, place was jammed.
But then that's, it all becomes, like I say, you find a niche.
Yeah.
And you're gonna ride that niche. When we were there at PGP, they were talking about that they'd had them in there and they had to stop because it wasn't. What did she say? They weren't authorized. The only thing that was authorized to be on that track was go-karts. The county hadn't authorized that.
Oh, the drift?
The drift.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal. But anyway, not to get off track, but, I mean, it is down to money, and I think we all know that. Everybody's got their deal. But is there, Lippy, I mean, is I mean, I get money is there, but does this really pertain to money necessarily?
I wouldn't. Well, travel is money, so it is in some instances, that. But for us, the summer is just tough because, like you said, there's so many different things to do, so many different racing forms that can be done. So, it takes its toll. It's not as bad in the wintertime because there isn't nearly as many options, but, it's tough.
And if we've got enough people there, let's see here. It's a Sean Carr. Racers control conditions with their dollars. If they race on a track or with a series that doesn't give them what they need, it will burn them out fast. Where's the fun in racing at a place you don't like just to support a series? But Passanante said, fewer, better race events, collaborative planning. It's too easy with tech today to not know how to host a conference call or video chat meeting to help drive attendance. Manage the event with a clear agenda and timing, etc. I couldn't agree more. I will say to Sean on that is, where's the fun in racing a place you don't like just to support a series? Well, I guess my saying to that is, you want to go race, right? I mean, you don't like it maybe just because you're not good there, but I mean, it's still it's not necessarily the series that we're talking about supporting here. We're talking about the sport.
I think it's pretty easy to get involved with most of these clubs, and if you don't like the way it's either being run or the way it's being put on, it's easy to get into it and influence, what you want. But it takes you to be involved and have that initiative to rally the troops that are already there with your ideas and make them, a reality. If you just stand back and you're just mad and don't like the way it's run, it's never going to change. The only way it's going to change is if you get involved and make it change because,
Yeah, that's a fair point. The Northeast Divisional went off without a hitch. 32 karts in UAS, 12 karts in the WCRS, and we ran the whole show in 4.25 hours. We received many compliments on how well it went. And I will tell you, listening to Michael Lane, talking to him on the phone, and listening to how he does things, we're not even close.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you we're not. He's doing things that, I'm just saying, he's going to these tracks. He's telling them, hey, here's what we got. Here's what we're going to offer you. Here's what your fans can expect. Here's what you can expect from us. Here's what we need from you. I mean, it goes right back to what Passanante's saying. Being collaborative and planning and doing all these things. He's calling all the racers, hey, make sure you're here. Boom, we've got this, we got that, we got this. 4.25 hours?
That's pretty good.
But
could we run a full UAS in 4 hours? Just saying.
But it's just like up there at PGP when we was up there and we announced that race. Here you come. This is when your race starts. You're not on the grid. Sorry.
That's what I've been saying all along. If you're not there, we're leaving without you, and it'll happen once if it matters to you.
Yeah, but I mean, you seen it. Those guys were
on the grid in their carts, ready to rock and roll.
Ready to rock and roll, because when they made that lap, they come around, they had the flag. End of story. There was no, I'm waiting for you. Sorry you didn't get there.
And that's just one of the many little things, And this is not a bash.
No, it's not.
Please, don't take this as a bash. I'm just saying, these are the things we need to think about because we don't know when or where the next track is going to be on the edge. And we got Yao calling 5. So let's go through this really quick. I want to do this for sure. Don't forget, October 25th is the deadline. What deadline, you say?
Mm-hmm.
The American Muscle Cart Excellence Awards. They have the Sportsman of the Year for driver and non-driver, Innovator of the Year, Most Improved, Best Appearing Team, Traveling Ambassador, and Most Unselfish to the Racers of the UAS. please vote. It's another one of those steps that helps the sport. Vote. If you don't know anybody, nominate somebody that you had a good experience with and get them on there. But please vote. It's a big deal, and it's important. Northeast Divisional. Caroga Creek Speedway for the Unlimited All-Stars. And let me tell you, Lip, it was this was a who's who of UAS. Steve Wendell was fast time with a 9.844. Terry Holyfield second. Paul Deasy, Matt Green, Skip Gilbertson were your top 5. 9.844 was fast time. 9.949 was fifth. The dash went to Jimmy White, Matt Green second, and Tom Volts was third. Terry Holyfield fourth. Steve Wendell fifth. The B main, Brett the Jet Messler wins that. Mark Bergfeld, our own, second. Scott Castor third. Eric Green fourth. Brandon Oldham fifth. The feature. Are you ready for this? Terry Holyfield.
Wow.
Steve Wendell, Ben Taft, Dave Pantanella, Jimmy White, Kyle Pease, Eric Grice, Matt Green, Steve Derrigo, Rich Chrisman. Those are your top 10.
That field was stacked.
Dude, there's more. They're down there. DC was 12th. Brett the Jet was 13th. Scott Castor 14th. 15th was Jeff Dugan. Mark Bergfeld 17th. Ron O'Neill. John Gardy 18th.
Yeah, that field was stacked. Man, oh, man.
Wendell, Holyfield, Jimmy White, and Matt Green all won their heat races. Matt Green went a 9.806 in his heat race. That's quicker than they qualified. That was quicker than fast time. Good stuff. Redwood Acres, Jeff Smith takes the win. There was only just two of them, the Speedway. They mixed them. He beat Orion Aguilar. There was only two of them. That's too bad. Let's see here. I got my Racer-Rama from Meridian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They had Senior 4, and then on the 14th and 15th, they ran 2 days, or 2 main events. So on the 14th, Trey Manker won that. Riley Gonzalez, Dale Schmitzker was third. Then the next day, they ran 2 main events again. It was a 2-day show. And Brady Blinkhorn won that. Trey Manker second. Riley Gonzalez third. And then in main event 2, it was Joe Sarceda, Riley Gonzalez, and Trey Mansker, your top 3. Wheel to wheel. SoCal. Chris Southern won the UAS portion. KT100 went to Thomas Southern, and Norm Reynolds won the F200. Senior 4 went to Taylor Roa. Juniors went to Brandon Head. Dirt Kart Senior, Bill Martin, Darcy Blaylock, Dave Taylor. And Dirt Kart Junior, Will Brown, Max Tippett, Riley Tippett, and Cash Culp. That was that. Let's see. Wairika. UAS. These are the final standings. Brianna Fuller wins the UAS.
Wow, nice. Good for her.
Ed Grubb second. Larry Fuller third. Sean Fuller and Jeremy Brown tied for fourth. In the Speedway karts, John Hout, Steve Rambo, and Deb Medeiros tied for second. Lori Fuller third. Congratulations, Lori. Mm-hmm. And Brianna Fuller. And then on the 15th, they actually had a race. Larry Fuller won the UAS. Jeremy Brown was second. Brianna Fuller was third. And in the 206 class, Deb Medeiros, John Holt, Lori Fuller, and Steve Rambo win that.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. Let's see here. I got just a quick more before Yao calls in here. PGP Winter Series in 206, Jeremy Bolstad, Kevin Genders, AJ Fugit, Jake Mann, and Gabe Sessler.
Wow, go Jake Mann and AJ.
Yep. And Jeremy Bolstad. Strebe Speedway had their final. This is from, we missed one because I don't know what happened. But this was race number 7. Mike Strebe was fast time, 8.60. And the hard charger went to Kevin White, who passed 4.
Nice.
And in the main event, it was Riley Hood leading 1 through 30. Bell to bell for Hood. Mike Strebe second. Nick Hall third. Anna Gallagher fourth. And Kevin D. White fifth. Because that UAS kart's kind of
Mm-hmm.
Fixing things up. Oregon State Karting Championship Series. Jacob Gulick wins the 206. Seth McCauley second. Good driver, by the way, Seth McCauley is. Dakota Gridlin third. Junior 206. Cooper Becklin. Caleb Schrader. Thomas Olson. S4 shifter. Mitch Kirkpatrick. Joe Casey. And a great guy. Glad to see him back out there. Jamie Elmer. World Formula Heavy. Brian Green. Mark Westcott. A stud. And Greg Normandin. Did you know Greg Normandin's initials are Grand National? KT 100. Jeff Bandolo, Larry McMaster, and Trevor McMaster. Junior 1 206. Parker Sellner, Racing Mason Smark, and Colton Mullen. Cam Egger won the S2 shifter. Looks like that was all there was. And the last thing I have is SEMA up at Sumas. Samuel Barrera Garcia. He takes Junior 2 206. Tyler Kozma, second, and Cole O'Connor. Senior 206, Jeff Janders. Leonardo Barrego. And Gabe Sessler. Rookie Junior 1. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Harapnuik. Harapunic? That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Mason, he wins it. Mason Chambers and Landon Stoller. Or Seaver, excuse me. Tag Junior 3, Mario Gill, Evan Arnold, Cole O'Connor. Tag Senior, Monroe Jordan, Andrew Byrne, Adam Isman. Tag Masters, Gary Ochi, Tom Molden, and Rob Jukes. Shifters, Kevin Janders, Andrew Byrne, Brandon Cusack. Another standout wheel. That's what happened this weekend. And, boy, that was a lot of stuff. I was surprised, actually. So, what's up, Kyler Cover? So while we wait for, and then Monroe starts up when?
Should be starting up in the next week or two, I think. Some with Salem, I think they're talking about.
My first day's the 4th. Yeah, but they're having one on the 28th?
7th is practice, is what they're talking about down in Salem. So
let's see. Well, all right. So while we're waiting for Robby Yao, the man, we'll be right back. The 3 most expensive things you'll do in your life are buy a house, educate your kids, and go racing. What you don't need is another expense, and that's why you take your car and tow rigs to TruTech Automotive to ensure that they are maintained and repaired the right way with the right parts at the right price. And how's this for right? Extended to all racers is the In the Family 25% discount off of all preventative maintenance and repair labor. All you have to do is use the discount code NWRR to save. Now that's right. Get it done the right way, the TruTech way. TruTech Automotive, 6900 Northeast Highway 99, Hazeldale, Washington. 360-571-2302. All right, and it is time for your favorite drivers and people of interest in the motorsports world. It's time for In the Seat, powered by Blue Line Graphics. Call this the last chance Conti, baby, because we are with the man himself, Mr. Robby Yao. So this is the last time you're gonna, well, not the last time forever, but third in our segment, last chance qualifier, questions and answers with the legend. What's going on, Robby Yao?
Oh, nothing much, Terry.
I love that. Oh, nothing much, Derek. You from back there, back there. Cool stuff.
Out yonder.
Out yonder. That's what I reckon. I reckon so.
You better watch out. He'll kick your butt when he comes out here.
Yes, so will his daddy. So what's new, Robby Yao?
Nothing much. Just same old, just working hard and trying to stay racing every weekend.
Mm-hmm. So, question. So you roll up to the grid. You think you're all dialed in. You're getting ready for qualifying. What is your mindset? What are you thinking about?
Uh, as me in general, I try not to think too much before I go out. I'm always usually nervous when I go out, so I got a bunch of nerves. I'm always nervous when I go out, and I just try and focus on just trying to stay calm and cool and relax, and trying to do the best I can, hit my marks.
You mean to tell me as many races and big events that you've entered and been in, you still get nervous?
Yeah, I still get nervous. Heart starts pounding. I just get adrenaline rush. Nerves start kicking in. And then as soon as I get out there on the track, then everything just calms and cools down.
Mm-hmm. Do you run more or less air pressure when you qualify?
I typically don't change my air pressure. Until the track is good, I'll stay the same air pressure in practice, qualifying, and race.
Okay, so you don't have a qualifying setup versus a race setup?
I have a setup that just comes and runs. Unless I need to change setup during the daytime, I don't change. Setup stays the same unless the track makes a major change.
Even Diotti says he's nervous.
Yep, mega nervous over here. Even
Diotti,
the hitman even, yeah. Go ahead.
How nervous was Diotti for the Grand Nationals?
Oh, he wasn't nervous. But I know one thing, he was nervous on that first start. And he's glad he got that back. Because he might have been snoozing just a hair on that first one. Because you noticed the second time.
The whole rest of the
race.
race.
He was money, let me tell you. But, I believe nervous is good.
I think it makes a better racer.
It does. If you're not nervous, then it doesn't mean anything to you.
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
I think, too, at that point, if you're nervous of what you're doing, you're respecting what you're doing. You're not taking that for granted.
And you're not taking the other racers for granted, right?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. So, Robby Yao, if you could, what's up? T-Mac in the house. Yeah. I'm trying to remember quickly where, Joshua Tree, California is where he's from. Crazy. Look that up. What would you consider? I'm trying to figure out how to word this here. So all these racers that listened in to our segments, we're kind of recapping everything tonight. What general advice would you give? Let's just say they were all your kids and you were like the daddy of them. What kind of advice would you be giving them?
Same advice my dad gave me. Basically, practice makes perfect. You're going to make mistakes. It's whether you can pick yourself back up, learn from the mistakes, and make a better assessment of it, and learn from what you did wrong or learn from what you're not even doing right. As long as you're putting in the effort to learn and get better and better yourself, that's pretty much all I'd ever ask for. That's pretty much the talk my dad gave me.
Amen to that. There's some truth to that.
Exactly.
Other than you missed one. If they were all your kids, you'd be saying, look, when I pull up on you and I give you a bump, you better get out the way.
Otherwise, you're getting out of the way.
Yeah, 2 bumps and then a dump. I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to see if we got any questions here.
Robby, and I may have missed this in the process from last couple days, or last couple times because I've been leaving early. But
Okay.
But where did you learn the tire science? Who taught you that to do the
tire science? I have to give all my credit to my dad. My dad was basically the one that taught me, and then from there, I picked up on a few things, and I've had other people help me. One of the guys that's helped me recently is a guy named Wesley Gregory. But most things I picked up just from basically taking a gamble, seeing if it would work, seeing what would make it work, and then from going there, just critiquing it and doing it just a little bit better the next couple weeks, next couple races, and then from there, I just got to the point where I had a standard point of what I knew would work and when it would work and how it would work.
Okay, I was just like I say, I didn't know if I'd missed part of that or anything, but I was
we actually didn't go over where I learned it from. But mainly it's my dad. I owe my dad all the credit for where I've learned my knowledge of tires and racing in general.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Way to go, Mike Yao. So, when you're, is it, have you ever had the day where you're just junk? And, it's like you could drive a whole nother go-kart underneath it, and you're still junk. What?
Yes, I have. I have had those days.
How do you handle that? Is it all lost, or do you just go out there and ride along and take what you take? Because some days that's all you are is a fifth-place car or third-place car or whatever, right?
Yeah, honestly, I've had that mistake a couple times this year where I knew I had a fast piece, but we were just a couple tenths off, 2-3 tenths off, and we just like everything's right. Tires are right. Go-kart setup was right. And honestly, it was a minor mistake. One of the mistakes was brake caliper bolts came loose and was rubbing the brake against the brake pads. That's a few tenths right there. Actual sliding. They're just little maintenance checks that were over missed or just sporadically happened at the racetrack and we didn't catch it. Just little things like that can cost you. And it's where it goes over, just making sure everything is proper. You can always have a good piece and a fast piece, but there's always those little bitty maintenance checks, which I'm still learning as I go throughout my years. But it's just one of those things you have to critique and better yourself.
Well, we were on the way home, and Shane Biles was driving our limousine, and he was saying that you told Renee before she went out, okay, now look, when the green drops, I want you to kind of hold back a little bit because there's going to be
carnage,
chaos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because I was always the other way, man. I'm gluing to this guy's bumper. I ain't letting nobody in.
Well, I learned way back when in the big UAS races, especially if it's the first couple laps. If you're not in the top 5 from there back qualifying, be patient, be cautious because there's going to be a big wreck. Because we have so much horsepower, it is hard to control it. Sometimes accidents do happen, and there is sometimes a big wreck. So I just learned from there back, just be patient, be cautious. Always look to the next corner in front of you. Whenever I'm racing, I don't particularly look right in front of me. I look at the next where I'm going. I don't look at where I'm at. That way, if there's an accident ahead, I have time to critique myself into, all right, I need to do this to get around it, or I need to just whoa up now.
Yeah. Daryl Kelso says, like has been said, it's the little things, like Zeus fasteners.
That's so true. Robbie, what you just said there, this is one of my questions I was going to get into with you, is where you look when you're on the track. And I see so many people that are focused on their front bumper and the rear bumper in front of them, and they don't look down the track. They don't ever see what's up ahead. And you can watch them because when something does happen up ahead, they plow right into it. They just don't even see it. And I think that's the difference between good racers nowadays and great racers. It's how far you look ahead and how quick you can analyze everything that's happening ahead of you. It amazes me how many people watch their feet. So
it actually goes further than that as well, because say you're in the lead. Well, you would think you don't really have to look ahead. Well, you run into lap traffic. Well, what I do is if I run into lap traffic or I'm going through a field, I look at my next move. I don't look at the move I'm about to make. I look at my next move. So I look at when I can pass and where I can't pass.
Yeah, exactly. You may need to whoa up just a little bit and make your timing right so that you don't catch them in the corner. You catch them on the exit of the corner so you can get through harm's way rather than pulling right up on them and having to whoa up. Then the rest of the field gathers up behind you, and then it's a free-for-all. So, yeah, I totally get that. I have a question. I was at the Arizona for the Winter Classic down there, and it was my second time there, and I was talking to a competitor that was there, and I seen him. using the bumper ahead of him quite a bit to where I actually went to the pit and I asked him, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're beating that guy's bumper up. And he said, well, I've raced that guy several times before, and I know the best way to beat him is to get into his head. How do you fight head games? How do you keep people out of your head? Because it's easy. I've done it before. I've gotten frustrated. Somebody gets by me. I try to get by them. I can't do it. I try here. I try there. I don't do it. And by then they're into my head, and they're affecting my whole game. So how do you fight the head game?
The head game is usually whenever someone just gets, rattles your feathers or gets up with you.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to basically remember, you just got to be calm. If you're not calm out there, then you're just going to overdrive. You're going to be aggressive. You're just not going to have a fast piece. Have a fast piece also critiques of how the driver feels. So if the driver's not feeling, if the driver gets rattled up a little bit, then it's all over from there.
Yes, it is.
You just got to learn to get back to you, and just focus on what you're there to do. What you're there to compete as fast as you can, as good as you can, not as angry or as upset as you can.
No, but his question was, would you put the bumper to somebody if you knew it was going to rattle him?
I would just let them know that I was there, and then that right there, I guess, you would say rattles them a little bit, and then they either overdrive or they miss something just happens where they just start changing their setup, and yeah, I mean it does happen. It's a way to, outsmart your competitors.
Yes, it is.
Well,
for me, I always try and, it's never a good idea, but I'll close my eyes and tell myself, down the straightaway to calm down, and then take a few deep breaths before I get to the next corner and try to, gather myself up. Because if I don't, I will get so enraged that I'm worthless. Truly, I'm worthless. I mean, they've got me at that point.
Now
I know what's wrong. Exactly. He's been saying, I've been off. I don't get it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's easy to do. It's just how to calm yourself down. And that's what I figured out to do, is just try and
Just
shake
breathe.
it off.
Just breathe.
Yeah, breathe. Exactly. That's it too.
So there's the deal, folks. That's we just found out the secret. When
Yeah.
you go into one and just close your eyes.
No. It's before you get into one, close your eyes.
and then go through 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and then open them.
And be sure and hit Lippy's bumper on the way through, because that's really going to mess him up. So, yeah, there you go. You have it there.
Well, here's what I don't get. I can't believe there's no questions on here. I mean, we get one of the biggest guys in the sport here, and nobody's got chassis questions. Nobody's got, hey, what do you do? Hey, are we all dialed?
They've all got it figured out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not.
any question's a good question. I mean, tires, setup.
Yeah. Dave Chisholm says, gotta go slow to go fast.
That's very true.
Well, then I would be a rocket.
I'd look like that gal in what was the cop movie there with
Driving Miss Daisy?
no the one with God, why am I on a blank tonight? The with all the cadets. With all the cadets where she's singing, driving out through the that'd be me, just singing, going around the track.
Singing, that would be bad.
Well, yeah, in the helmet.
Oh, okay.
All right. Hey, Terry, we got a question.
Okay, we do. Let's see.
front-
Close your eyes. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking at. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Ryan Diotti, right front camber and when to adjust it.
Okay. Depending on where you have your camber set up at, I particularly, once I set up my cart, I do not change the camber. I'm more or less a caster. I'll play with caster than camber. Now, if I'm having an issue where I don't want to change my setup too much, and I'm getting a push, just a little bit of a front feathery push coming off the corner, what I'll try and do is I may roll the right side out just a little bit to give more rubber to the ground, and that'll take a little bit of the push out. It's honestly just preference thing. You can do that either with camber, or you can do that with chassis setup, or depending on what time you have for crunch and what you feel most comfortable doing.
Man, look at Deotti. He's so sly, ain't he? I love it. I love it.
Let's see here.
This is okay. How do you prepare your tires for a track you have never been to or know anything about? That's by Brian Rushing.
Okay. For instance, I was here in the East Coast. I told a couple of other fellow racers how to set tires for me. Basically, I told them I needed sets of tires that were at least 50, 55, a couple sets that were straight up, just had a little bit of wipe on the outside, conditioner, could have been GK1, whatever they felt comfortable doing. And then from there, I just checked it, looked at the track. Most sets, it's good to have a set, good to have at least, a set that's 45, a set that's 50, and a set that's, 55, because different tracks have different variations of what they like. For a track I've never been to before, for instance, Arizona, I looked at the track. I knew it was going to be dusty, so I went with a gamble on a medium hard set of tires, which are around 55, and they ended up hooking up great. So from there on out, I knew that I could go either harder or stay on the same thing. It's honestly just looking at the track, seeing what the track is like. And that's just a thing you pick up and go, and you learn because most tracks are exactly the same by just looking at them.
Get that, Brian? Or no, Sean, I mean?
No, that was
Brian. No, that was Brian. Okay,
That's
Sean
Brian.
Carr says, do you watch YouTube videos of a new track you are going to? Helmet cams especially?
I'll get that question, and then we also have a Daryl Kelso has a question. But for Sean, yes, I do watch YouTube videos. For instance, whenever I came to BK, that's all I did was I looked at YouTube videos of BK before I even came to the track.
Yeah, I think there's a wealth of information there, definitely, and I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, Daryl Kelso's got a tell us more about caster setup.
Caster setup it's honestly a driver preference. The chassis manufacturers, they set them at 7 and 10. Now you can change caster, which will basically the right front caster. You can use the right front caster, which basically you think of it as loading and unloading the left rear. It will unload the left rear quicker, and it also will make the front end turn quicker. So the more caster you run, so the different splits. So if I roll 7 and 10, but then I move it to 9 and 12, I still have this caster split, the 3-degree caster split. But what I've done is I've made the front end turn quicker.
Interesting.
So, and then also I've made it to where the left rear, it'll put more weight on the left rear, so it won't unload it as quick.
That is the answer to my. Remember how I've been saying all along? Everybody says, I said, well, move the left rear out. No, that'll loosen it up. It's like, well, not. It doesn't in a car. I mean, but there again, that's where I was at was after reading that book that's a lot of the problem. A lot of people don't understand how these things operate.
Yeah.
On car, no, you do not have to. Sean asked if you change one side of camber, do you reset the other side to compensate for the change? You don't have to. If you just want to change one side, you can. Like I said, it is a preference of the driver. What feels comfortable to the driver. For me, I like to have a little bit of a quick front end, just because of the horsepower. That's just my preference.
Looks like we missed a question from Renee too. If the cart is off, can a driver do anything to compensate for that?
Okay, if the cart is off,
if they're a driver, they will.
If they're a driver, I mean, you could take a loose cart and make it fast. You could also take a free cart and make it fast. But if the cart's too free, honestly, if it's not handling right through the corners, but you have speed down the chute, it's honestly, you need to make a drive line change or a driving change for entering and exiting the corner. So you need to basically change your whole driving style, and see if you're going in fast in the corner, try going in slow and getting on quicker. That's a couple of things, because some people, they'll run in there and then they'll get on in the center of the corner, but they'll just, the cart will be upset. Well, if they let off a little bit earlier and then let the cart roll in the corner and then get back on around the middle, then they'll be able to handle a lot better. So there's different changes you can make. There's always, just like a throttle, there's 1,000 positions on a throttle. There's 1,000 different lines you can run.
One of the things I had a conversation down in Arizona again, and a competitor was making note of another competitor on entry. He would pick off the throttle very quickly. It was not a gradual off the throttle and a gradual back on the throttle. He came off very quickly and he came on very quickly. And the other guy was telling me that, he could tell that because the back of the cart was very twitchy, so he knew when to take advantage of that. So, how is your throttle control? Are you a quick on, quick off, or is it a gradual type of a deal for you? What do you preach anyways?
Well, I like to try and at least run it as hard as I can into the corner, and get my setup to where the setup will control itself entering the corner, and then it's honestly a feel through the center of the corner, like Tim Chase has said, the butt dyno. You have to feel it in your butt, and the cart will tell you when it's ready to get back on and when it's not. If it's really late, then you need to make a little bit of an adjustment to get to where you can get back on quicker, or change your line to where you can get back on quicker.
That's so true about the butt dyno. So many people just don't have that feel. They have skills, but they don't have that feel. And without that feel, I feel sorry for them. I'm fortunate enough to, I believe, have that feel, but a lot of people just never get there.
Let's see. Does size matter? Does size matter on that dyno, Tim?
Yeah, 36 large.
Size always matters, Sean.
Ricky Worley has a question.
Yep.
Obviously, cart brands vary, but generally speaking, where do you like front to rear percentage at? Say a 450 cart, and then a
lower horsepower engine.
Honest truth, if I run a BRC, if I run a 450, if I run a 500. My nose stays the same. I don't change my nose. My nose is anywhere between 46 to 47%. That's in any cart I've ever ran. That's where I try and keep my nose weight. With the UAS carts, it has a lot of variation to the if you run a wedge body with a wing in the back, the wing has a lot of play that you can use. You can create to where you have less nose, where you have more nose, just by the downforce of the rear wing. And there's a lot of different. You can go too much, and then you can go too far.
Well, now that rear wing, Robby, back in the days, behind the seat, we used to run that panel like it was like a deck lid, right? It would go from behind the seat all the way back, and then you would mount your wing on top of that. Remember in the old day? But now, nobody runs that, and they just run the two sideboards with the wing across the back.
That's due. We've actually. I used to run the wedge in between the seat. It wrapped around the seat.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the reason why we got off of it, but to me, it seems like it just allows the airflow to go freely through the chassis. I don't know the reason for that. Why you wouldn't run a wedge in the center, but it seems like it's really not needed, because I don't think anybody's ever put a UAS cart body setup through a through a wind tunnel just to see. But Ryan Diotti says drag.
It is drag. I think that's what Wayne Felch said because
drag.
I think Felch has been in the tunnel.
Okay, well, I mean, I can see where it has drag. It also would, I guess, could have a downforce or push issue on it. But I typically it doesn't matter. But anything I ride, it's got to have a wing setup on it.
Now, does that wing? Because you would never mount that level with the top of the boards, right? Because I notice all of them are down just a hair, so they've got a couple 2-3 inches above the top of the wing, right?
Yeah, I've never seen them mounted on the very top.
And by very top, I mean the wing is flush with the top of the sideboards, rather than being, if you took.
Yeah, it's got to have a little bit of play. I would think for just for the use of the wing, you'd have to have it lowered just a little bit to where it's actually in play.
Got it.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, you're using your side plates as like a sideboard on in any wing with like say a top fuel car. If you took the spill plates off the side, what would you have? Nothing. It would just be air going over it.
Yeah.
Michael Lane's got a question there too. With the big weight of the MX and flat track motors, how do you stop the chassis from flexing and causing the car to hop in the turns?
Okay, with the big weight of the MX and flat track motors, how do you stop this? Honestly, if it starts to hop, the only reason why I know a cart would hop is because the tires are too soft.
Yep, or low pressure.
That anytime I've had a hop issue, I've had too soft of tires, or too much air. Too much air will cause that as well. No.
And what do you mean by too much air? Tire pressure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Air pressure.
So it's starting to act like a basketball when it's too tight.
Yeah, it just starts biting over too hard, and it just starts, like for instance in indoor, when we run indoor, if it grips too hard, it just starts skating, and then it starts lifting up. We don't do that on dirt though, but.
Well, so let's say you enter the corner, and the cart isn't really loose or free in, and it's not really too tight. It's just like a four-wheel drift. What's the issue there?
Tires too soft.
If the whole cart just wants to drift up the track,
the cart turns in good, but then from the center off it just slides. That's what's called a four-wheel drift, like you said, and the tires are just too soft. And need to go just a little bit harder tire.
Okay.
If it slides going in the corner.
Yeah, it just drifts. Like you go to get in, and the whole cart just wants to just kind of skate up.
Now, if you go in the corner and it slides, it's too hard of tires. You need to go just a little softer, or have a harder biting agent.
Okay.
Let's see.
Sean Carr.
Yeah, wants to go in with a quick front end. The quick front end, what I talked about is on a standard go-kart with a clone motor, we run them at 7 and 10, and that compensates for the turning in of the cart. Well, with the way that the UAS is, we're going in the corner a lot faster than the standard go-kart is going. So you'd want to be able to turn in just quicker than what the standard front end is turning. So that's what I'm talking about whenever I'm wanting a cart to have a quick front end.
So it's a response time of when you put the input in that you actually get movement in the front end.
Exactly.
Okay. I get it.
Let's see. Does Johnny have a question in the back there? Just kidding. Arrow is real tool. We had one of the first Felch rear wings, and it took a while to utilize its ability, but minor angle changes were used often for tuning.
Yeah, that's Tim Chase with the Felch wing was talking about. Yeah, definitely Their innovator. So is the C Wings are the same way. Which C had a great video he put up today talking about the front splitter and how to mount it, what it does, and why it does it. That was I took a few things away from the video that I saw today that he put up. That was awesome. I appreciated that.
Well, Robby, Tim Chase says, I always equate trying to run too much left side weight when the track wasn't ready. That would also show up as a four-wheel slide/drift.
Yeah, I could see that. I've never ran over a certain number of left side weight. But if running too much, I could see.
Is 70 too much?
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a bit much.
I mean, I'm just asking because everybody thinks left side's great. Some is.
That's way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Is 60 too much?
It's close.
Yeah.
Because I know in the late models they only allow you. I think it was either 55 or 58.
Those are better.
So everybody wanted more. More. That's why you know what I mean. But there's always that theory. I don't know how true this is, but I was told back in the day when I was running dirt was that the less left side you have, the more forgiving the car will be. Hence, when you come off and you're already kind of sideways, with a lot of left, it's just going to want to keep. It's harder to get it back once.
Yeah.
Once the ass end gets gone, but with less, you can recover.
You can recover a lot better than you can, with less than you can with more.
Inertia.
Pendulum, right?
There you go.
Wow.
Trail braking.
What about it? I've heard both sides. Some people hate it. Some people love it. I know road racing, it's kind of a, I don't know.
It's a given in road racing. But trail braking can be a positive thing. You can basically, if you have a cart that's fast, but it's just getting a little twitchy as the race continues on. And by twitchy, I mean the rear end's just trying to just twitch a little bit from the center. You can trail brake through the corner to keep the rear end from twitching. So trail braking does have its positives, and sometimes it has its negatives because you could get on it too hard one lap and cause yourself to spin out. But you have to. It's a practice that you have to critique, and you have to warm up your brake first off. And what I like to do if I'm going to trail brake a track, I have to get on it at least 10 to 15 feet past the straightaway, the flag stand. And by getting on it, I mean like easing on the brake, not slamming on it. And then just aggressively getting on it a little bit at a time as I enter the corner, and then just feathering the throttle, and then easing off the brake whenever I come off.
Yeah, I've found it useful when I've made bad tire choices. Because like you said, if you got too soft of a tire from the center out, it just wants to drift up and people can get under you. And just to keep that bit of drift down, it's helpful to drag the brake through there just a skosh to keep you where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So now, is it smart if somebody gets by you to try to get them back in the next corner?
If you wanted to do that, yeah. But if someone gets by me, I like to just see what they're doing different than what I'm doing, and I'll ride behind them for a lap or two, and I'll see if I can run their line. Then if I can run a better line than them, I'll see where they're messing up at, and then I'll try and work my way back around them.
That's a good way to do it.
It is. I call that driving emotional because I see it a lot. They get passed off at 2 and they try to get it in turn 3, and so hole or no hole,
here they come.
It's going in.
Yeah, sometimes whenever you try and pass somebody back, or try and pass somebody, you just don't really think about what you're doing, and you can either end up taking yourself out, taking them out, or taking both yourselves out.
Yeah. Usually the latter.
Yeah, and I just don't. You got passed for a reason, so it's usually better to regroup. I mean,
yeah, and try not to make yourself to where you just don't get over your head. You come back to a neutral and just try and get back to position.
Correct.
Don't be a nuisance. That's me.
So now when you go out for the first practice and you leave the pits, let's say, all right? You're in, they open the gate, off you go. Are you just one of those guys that goes out there and just puts your foot to the wood and goes for it? Or do you roll around the racetrack a few times, nice and easy? And
if it's my first time hitting the track, I would at least take a couple laps just to do a shakedown, make sure everything is smooth, everything's functioning properly, that I have good throttle response, that my brakes are working. That just the whole go-kart, the feel of the kart just feels good, and then from there I'll generally get faster and faster, and then a couple laps later I'll just see what I got, and run a couple fast laps, then I'll pull off.
I have one, and I was thinking about this the other night after I was headed home. Do you run your tires on heat cycles? I mean, do you put a heat cycle in your tire and then take them off, or are these
No.
with them being such a thin rubber? Does it even matter?
No, I don't usually run a heat cycle. I mean, I'll take a tire and I'll run it, and then that'll be the one heat cycle it gets. But I just basically just apply the prep back to the tire, just to cure the heating process back. So generally, I don't put heat cycles in my tire. I don't try to, but if you have a race that's going to go caution for caution, because out here we usually go green to checkered. There's no caution, so there's really no heat cycle. It's not tires not heating up and then cooling back down, heating back up, cooling back down. But for out there, if you race and you have cautions after cautions, having a little bit of rolled prep inside the tire would decrease the heat cycle of the tire.
Okay,
it'll be able to make the tire refire back off.
Yeah, I was just curious, and I'm thinking back on the big tire more, but then when you say the prep thing, it goes back to my brain. Is your prep's what is your biggest friend at this point?
Yeah, I don't run heats. I don't try and do heat cycles with my tires. I just try and get it to where the tire will fire off with prep the first time, and then once the prep's gone, then it's up to the tire and the standard of the tire, and then the way the chassis is set up, having an equal distribution of heat towards the go-kart, and it'll go-kart towards the tires, and it'll last the race.
Yeah, that's what. After I said that, I wasn't thinking because of the prep. I wasn't.
Which, if you ever notice, you'll see some racers. They'll run a couple green flag laps, and then the caution comes out. Well, then immediately as soon as the caution comes out, they're going left to right, just to keep some heat in the tires. Just so whenever the restart happens, they have they know they have some heat in their tires, and they'll take it easy maybe the first corner, but once they get through the first corner, it's game on from there.
Okay, thank you,
Robby. Excuse me, don't go anywhere. Pardon me. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Racing. It's preparation. It's focus. It's attention to detail. And when you try to take shortcuts, it shows. At Speed City, Southern Oregon's karting headquarters, distributor for Ultramax, Legend, QRC, Bell helmets, and K1 race gear, they don't roll like that. Speed City is committed to roll the way champions roll, by keeping racers on track with knowledge, integrity, and performance. No shortcuts, no negativity, no other motives. You don't just have their word on it, you've got their name on it. So get back to having fun and get to calling Speed City. Speed City, LLC, keeping racers on track with quality service and friendship. 541-531-1222. All right, if you're just joining us, we are talking to the man himself, Mr. Robby Yao, in our final segment of Yao's Tech Tips. And, man, Robby, so we've done 3 segments. Hopefully everybody's got a little something out of it. I just want to say I sure appreciate your candor and your openness to share all this stuff. I also do know that you haven't shared all of it, which would be foolish probably on your part, but yeah, man, I can't thank you enough for your time and your knowledge and your integrity and all that stuff, man.
You're welcome, man. I mean, it's like I've told you, it's better to make the sport better, and that way we have more competitors. Make everybody better, and just have a good time while we're at the racetrack.
Amen to that. So I want to finish off our last 15 minutes with more on tires.
Okay.
So what do you use on a tire to get it to fire off in the first couple of laps? Especially speaking of the BK, your cold conditions. It's wintertime. It's either raining or under 40 degrees out. So this is something that I struggle with at Salem, is getting my tires to work in the first 2 or 3 laps. What product do you use to make them fire off and stick in the first couple laps before they get heat in them?
Well, for Salem, we ran a soft tire, which was prepped with Track Tack tire treatment products of BTGP and SAA, and then from there to get them to fire off, we would rub Ruby.
Okay, now whoa.
Ruby Pink, which is
it was BB what?
Better than Goat Pea. So Track Tack Red and Track Tack Grape.
Okay.
So the chemical names are BTGP and SAA, or Red and Grape. It's simple, and it's 50-50 ratio mix. And for BK, AT2 and Ruby Pink, or just Ruby Pink straight, was the firing off agent, and it's pretty much Ruby is pretty much the firing off agent I use regardless, anywhere I get.
The Ruby Pink.
Yeah.
What's the ATT? What's that?
AT2 is like Acrosol. It's a pore opening agent. The Ruby Pink has it in it. It's one of the key ingredients into the Ruby Pink, and but you can add a little bit more just to open up the pores of the tire. That's its main factor, is to open the pores of the tire.
So your prep actually gets inside rather than just riding along to be deposited everywhere. Gotcha.
Well, you said you had a conditioner mix too. You used AT2 and mint something.
Tire Tough Mint. That's basically my religion conditioner. I believe in that stuff more than anything. Just because if you never used it, you have a tire that feels slick, just wipe one coat on it, and I guarantee I'll make you a believer.
And what do you mix that ratio at, that conditioner stuff?
That is a mixture. You can mix it any way you want, but the mixture I like to use is 14 ounces of AT2 and 2 ounces of Tire Tough Mint. And if you think about it, AT2 is the pore opening agent and gives the tire just a little bit of bite. Then the Tire Tough Mint's job is to go inside those pores and fill the pores in with oil. And that's the whole theory of the conditioning prep, just so you can keep the oils in the tire.
And this is something you should do religiously after every event, after you clean the tire and all that stuff, correct?
During the week before going to a race, that's the prep I use. As long as the tire's durometer is staying where I need it to stay,
mm-hmm.
all I'll do is I'll put conditioner. If the tire's durometer where I need them to be, all I put on is conditioner. Now, if I need them to make them just a little softer, I'll literally take and rub GK1. That's what I like to use as a softening agent. And I'll use GK1 to bring the tire down. But if the tire's where I want it, I use the conditioner prep, and I'll put as much as three coats to 4 coats a night. And
for the whole week, right?
Yes, and Tim is right. Mint is the most expensive track tech product for a reason, but you use just a little bit of it.
Now, when you say, oh, sorry, Lip, go ahead.
You can't put a price on something that's good. That's all I got to say there. But
that's true.
Well, you said, well, if they're durometer where I want, I'll just use the, just use the conditioner. Now, when you say just the conditioner, are you using that mixture that you just told us, the 14 and 2, or are you using just the tough mint, or what?
I mix it in a bottle, and I use that mixture. Now, for BK, I don't know if I've said this before, but I put more oil in my prep with the AT2, so I used 6 ounces of mint and 10 ounces of AT2, just because I didn't see my tires for almost 3 weeks, and so I literally had to make sure I had oil in the tire, and the tire would at least stay decently where it would, because over time a tire will harden up, and it'll harden back up. Just the process of the conditioner is just to keep the tire from getting harder.
Well, so now you left the 14 ounces the same, right, and just added 6 ounces instead of 2.
No, I decreased.
He changed
it's
it.
always if I say prep mixtures, I'm mixing in 16 ounces. The reason for that is I use a 16-ounce
squirt
bottle as my prep. So what I'll do is I will take, if I want more oil in the tire, I put more of the Track Tech Tire Tough Mint and less of the AT2. So I'm getting 16 ounces regardless. So if I run 14 and 2, then if I run 6 ounces,
okay, gotcha.
Of Tire Tough Mint, I run 10 ounces of that, or you can do it 50-50. It honestly just depends on what you like. I found that 14 and 2 works really good. And if you're not going to see your tires for quite some time, 6 and 10 works.
Okay, that makes sense. So you have, we'll say 3 weeks before a race, your tires are with you. So you continue to condition them each and every week. You don't spend 1 week conditioning them and then you're done. Regardless of whether you have a race that weekend or not, each week you're conditioning your tires. Is that correct?
Yes.
So there's no downtime for them, and the conditioner is almost as important or as important as race day is to be done to them.
Yes. And for instance, for the BK race, I started working tires November 1st.
Oh, that's 2 months.
Yeah.
That's 8 weeks.
Yeah, 8 weeks. Wow.
Each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Duro number you want for Salem?
Just
generally speaking.
Generally speaking, anywhere between 35 to 50 would be a good Duro number. I know we ran with and it also depends on the weight of your chassis.
If you were running a Yamaha, what would you run?
The Yamaha, what does it weigh? 375.
370, yeah.
Anywhere between 40 to 45. You probably could go a little bit harder, just depending on what the condition of the track is that day. But I would say anywhere between 40 to 45 would be a good reference for that.
Okay.
I got one more question. Have you ever tried racing on a frozen surface, meaning dirt but being frozen?
Yeah, I've ran on a frozen surface.
Because that happens in Salem every couple of years. They'll water and then it'll freeze overnight, and it does. It freezes the track, and that's what we got the next day. So what would you do to try and get a hold of a surface like that?
I would try a softer tire, or either I'd try and go to the nearest hardware store and get some roofing nails and put them through the
I've got ice spikes. Yeah, we can try that, but
or try a treaded tire. I don't know if a treaded tire would work better than that.
Renee used to swear by him down there, but yeah. So it's happened down there. I've raced on the surface when it's been frozen, and it's interesting.
Well, now here's I'll throw a scenario. Say you're racing at a track that's outdoors, and you're running, fast times. Everybody's running the same. Track's not frozen, and all of a sudden the track freezes. I've had to do that. I've had that happen a couple times.
Oof.
One corner just freezes, and they ended up. We don't end up racing on it because everybody wrecks self at turn one.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We've had it where it's rained in one corner and not the others, too. That's been interesting as well. Not in Salem, but that's always fun.
And Tim said, asked if it was bad to admit that he does not miss tires. No, it is not a bad thing. No, it is not.
Daryl Kelsel said, I had a set of Batesville tires that were 2 years old and were conditioned every week. Took them to Florida and almost won the point for the year.
It's true. Tires are everything. That's what we're learning.
It's all a tire game.
Just because they're old don't mean they're junk, though.
Nope.
No.
Just means you got to work harder.
Yeah, but, that's the problem. Is fast easy?
No.
Exactly.
If it was, everybody'd be there.
Yeah, dang straight. So we do know fast ain't easy.
No, it's not. It's
No.
a lot of stress.
Well, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, you have to have I think you have to have a realistic thing, right? You're gonna get what you put in, and it's okay if you don't mind mediocre results, whatever. Then you don't have to work as hard. And if you're okay with that, that's cool too, I think. Don't you, Robby?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's all what you make of it. There's no doubt about that. And if you want to put the time in, you'll certainly do better at it. I think in tires, it's the information you're giving us is great, and it helps immensely. But I think it's with anything else, it relies on your driving style and your equipment, and not everybody, can utilize the same thing. So people should be trying things. They should be looking outside the box. You never know when you're going to find the next, this really worked. So, to just do that and just stay with that, you're going to only be that good. So,
Robby, let me ask. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, you're fine.
You remember that place called Gecker Motorsports?
Mm-hmm.
They had a tool there that they had a sidewall stiffness tester.
Mm-hmm.
And they also cut the tires too, whatever. But is cutting the tires really work? I mean, and I'm assuming they're cutting the tires so that when they're at a true 90, right? The tire and everything, there's no crown in the middle, or, when they're at your pressures, right? You want it so the tire's completely flat. Is that the reason?
Well, Gecker Motorsports, they would, from what I remember, when we cut tires, we cut them just so we could get them to roll faster. We cut because the tires used to come, and they were thick rubber, and that was in the adult classes. So the flatheads, the clones, what's clones now, but it used to be flatheads, and you would cut the tire just so you had faster roll speed down the straightaway.
Okay, so is there really an advantage to it anymore, or is?
No, because most tires that come out now are thin rubber. They're not thick. They don't. There's not a thick rubber tire out there anymore. Other than the Hoosier tire is a thick rubber. I think Vega makes a thick rubber, a yellow thick rubber or yellow tire that's thick rubber. The MAS, I believe, or the MBH. And I mean, for the UAS, I've always preached the thick rubber. A thick rubber tire is always good for a UAS. Just because it's just what I've always raced with, is a thick rubber. I've never really tried the thin rubber. I've had more success out of a thick rubber tire than I have a thin rubber tire.
Gotcha.
I think it takes heat better.
Again.
It said it takes heat better. The thicker they are, they take heat better.
Yeah,
so.
they take heat a lot better.
Yeah, I've had some thick pinks before, and man, they were good till they heated up, and then it was just chaos out there. Wouldn't hold on to nothing.
Yeah, which that's part of the thing is, you kind of want to start off with I like to start off with a hard tire, and then the prep I put on before will soften it just a little bit, and then once the prep on the outside I've applied goes off, the tire actually will harden up a little bit, so it'll get back to where I'm at. Most people will take and they'll have a soft tire, they'll put prep on it, and then they're running on a soft tire, and then that's when they start messing up. It's a learning experience that you have to teach yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Learning curve involved.
Well,
yes.
That is, we kept you guys over. Didn't mean to do that, but we'll give it the last call. Last call for any more questions here for Mr. Yao. And what do you got going on?
Me?
Are you racing anything this weekend, or did you?
Yeah, running the state series in North Carolina at Liberty Raceway Park this weekend. I think it's either the 5th or the last state race for the season.
Very cool.
That's pretty much, and then just having to take late nights and work on stuff.
Is that the clone, or are you running something else?
Yeah, no, I'm running the adult clone, flat cart, and then running the adult senior champ class this weekend.
Nice. Dual
We
action.
don't really have unlimited out here.
Gotcha.
There's not many tracks that run the UAS, because I haven't really heard of many run them out here this year, other than there's a couple racetracks in Virginia, and I think there's one or two that run them in South Carolina.
God, I don't even know how you could not run one after you've run one, right? I mean, it's like, holy cow.
When their clones are pulling in a couple hundred carts, why bother?
Well, I guess that's true. When you have the chance to win, 5, 10, 15, 20 grand.
Yeah, when the tracks run 27 different classes, and the average per class is like 15.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, you're hoarse for 4 days after that thing, right?
Yeah. Gotta wake up the next day and clean everything. So
yeah.
Amen to that.
I want to run asphalt again.
2 questions for you before we let you go. Number 1, are you going to be at Salem before the BK?
No, I don't think I will. Unless I get asked to come out there to help. I know I'll be there at the BK.
Who's going to win the BK in your opinion?
Whoever comes across to get the checkered first.
You're a diplomat. I love it.
Whoever's still running at the end.
Robbie. Oh, all those.
No, I got one. Whoever has fuel at the end.
Oh, baby. Well, let me just say this, folks. You can contact Robbie at High Performance Racing, and that's his engine shop, his dad's engine shop. But Robbie, would you or do you mind giving your phone number out on the air? So if you guys want to write this down, you can contact him anytime on Facebook or at
Q for the number.
My number 336-451-1913.
I can hear pencils from here to there going off.
Mm-hmm.
And if
go ahead.
they don't want to write the number down, they can reach me through Facebook.
There you have it, folks.
Robby Yao. At Robby Yao, isn't it? Is that what it is? I know they've got the new at thing now, so
That's just Robby Yao. I haven't gotten with the new app thing, but if they did, I'll have to update it, I guess, to get with the
Oh, no, you can do that on your Facebook. You just go in there and you can, in your settings, you can change. So then all you can just say is just have the at Robby Yao, and they'll just type that in, and boom, it takes them right to your page.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be
cool.
Either way, cell phone or Facebook, and I'll get to you as soon as I can. Quicker to get me through with the cell, text or call, either one. 24/7, 365.
Jeez.
Nice. Careful with that.
Yeah, please, people. Yeah.
Be respectful, people. He's in Carolina, for Christ's sakes, too.
I know, you wake up at 3 a.m. Oh, man, I got to call Yao. Hey, Rob.
That's fine. If I'll answer.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. So
Yeah,
don't anybody try.
He will, and he'll go, this better be good.
Yeah, right.
They just better be prepared for a 6-hour conversation.
And then the next word out of his mouth is "damn bridges."
No, it'll be damn it, boy.
Renee's actually quite right. I never do sleep.
Yeah, it's easy to do with busy minds.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the shout, Sean Carr. We try to have a great show for you. In the meantime, I want to put out there that if you know somebody that is interesting or that you think would be good for the show, like next week we're going to have Devin West on, but the week after, Mike Welch is going to be our guest, and he is a huge monster truck guy. And he's right up here in Bellingham. The guy is, he started basically the monster truck deal. I didn't know that, but so big shout out to Junior Burkover for hooking that up for me. But that's what we're trying to do, is just give you a show that you can, like the Clarks, sit down as a family and enjoy. Who saw the new T-shirts? The Clark Family Racing Team. Did you see those, Lip?
Yeah, I did. I even saw the trailer.
Sick. We're going to see who drew.
Yeah, Dave
Chizzy.
Chisholm.
Are we giving away a hoodie tonight? He kind of disappeared.
He probably gave his hoodie away and took off.
Yeah, that's what I say. He says, oh, crap, it's 8. I got to give that hoodie away. I'm out.
You got to go to bed. Oh.
But anyway, we'll let you know who won the hoodie. Either next week or by Facebook, okay? So stay tuned for that. Clarks, thank you so much for the support on the trailer. It's really cool. I mean, just beyond cool. Way beyond cool. And remember, True Tech Automotive, in the family discount, 25% off if you just let them know you heard on the Northwest Race Report, and boom, get 25% off labor. So, tow rig's there. Robby, thanks, man.
Yeah, do appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me on here.
All right, brother. Talk soon.
All right.
All right, everybody. Want to give a big shout out again, one more time, to the legend himself, Mr. Robby Yao, for sharing all that awesome information. Not for 1, not for 2, but for 3 entire Northwest Race Report segments. I know, pretty cool. You got his phone number. Remember, Libby said be respectful. Please do. Looking forward to Salem. My first day is the 4th. Will you be there?
Don't know if I'm going to make that one.
So looking forward to seeing everybody there. And big shout out to Ryan Diotti, Dave Chisholm, Daryl Kelso, one of our biggest fans. And I would urge you, I just want to say this. Hope I'm not online, but please, UASers, drop Scott Warning a line on his Facebook. I just have this feeling that maybe things might not be too good. So I encourage you to drop him a line, show him your love. He's a big supporter of the show and a great guy. So if you get time, just take a minute and drop Arthur Scott is what his name is on Facebook, and drop him a line. Just let him know you're thinking about him. All right? Lip, you got anything?
That's a wrap.
All righty. And remember, keep it real, keep it cool, and when somebody's on the bottom,
hit the high side.
We love you. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.